So thank you everyone. Really appreciate for your time. And in this session, we will be talking about the SLA management as well as the service management configuration part, which is more important to work on the customer service module, as well as this particular part, it is usable across the other modules also. Means the SLA could be applicable in sales as well as in field service, or wherever you want to maintain some, you can say, turnaround time, and you want to work on a scenario where you want to uh, manage all kind of the KPIs based on some time duration. So it is applicable. And before we are going to proceed, just like a checklist about the housekeeping. Uh, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. You can use QA section, as well as you can unmute yourself by the time that you are speaking. And really appreciate again for your time and the cooperation. You can use the QA section for any kind of the questions that you want to ask. And if we talk about related to the today's agenda, as I mentioned earlier, that we are going to discuss about service management configuration, which is, you can say, the part 1, and the part 2 we will talk about the service level agreements, or we normally call it as a SLA, and we will talk about all kind of the scenarios that could be configured on the top of the system. All kind of, you can say, the recordings, whatever the session we had covered up till now, they are available on our YouTube channel, as well as all the presentations are available on our OneDrive folder. Just a reminder that the terminologies that we are going to discuss, or we are going to, you can say, use during our session, it will be based on these terms, means the case activities, entitlements, knowledge base, queues, service level agreement, creation rules, routing rules. So these are the all terminologies that we are going to use once again within this our session. So let's talk about specifically for the service management configuration. So what kind of the configuration are available? One is available related to the case settings, where you are going to manage all kind of the queues. Queues, it's just like a bucket that you can consider it, where you are going to manage all of your incomings. So every person who is, you can say, the part of the you can say it's a part of the system in terms of the user, or it could be a kind of a standalone, you can say, bucket, private or a public, that you are going to use it. So every user who is going to use the system, so he's having a profile, as well as he's having a queue also, so that he can manage his stuff within his, you can say, the listing, which is comes under his profile, as well as you can set up your own queues based on your scenarios. Either could be private, means where the people are having the access on the private, or a public, it is accessible across the organization. And there is a scenario where you are going to maintain a situation when the cases are linked with each other. So you can maintain under the parent-child case, and the settings that you are going to maintain under the service management. And as we discussed last time, the subjects means, which is, you can say, the tag of the information, means what type of the tag that you are going to put it there, you are just going to maintain for the subject. So let's say you want to tag it, either this particular request is related to the question, or it's a kind of the query or inquiry, or it's a kind of the complaint. So these are the all subjects that you are going to maintain. So you can also maintain the subject in a parent-child relationship also, means you can have a group of the topics, and under the topics that you are going to maintain other subtopics also. Then we also went through some of the information related to the routing rules, where we have seen how the configuration can be made in a way that whenever it is required, that the case is going to be assigned or reassigned to a certain person, or a queue, or a user, or a team, you can say. So based on the criteria, you can identify that if the case type is this, or let's say it's any kind of the attribute, you are going to define as a set of the rule, and you are going to specify, okay, who is going to take care of it. So routing rule, you can set it up on the top of Dynamics 365. Then we also have seen last time about the automatic record creation, which is a very effective way, in a way that whenever you want to capture the activities, and based on the activities, you are going to identify either this particular information is needed to transform in a record or not. We have seen that you are going to connect emails, you are going to connect phone calls, or any kind of activity record insertion. Based on the criteria, you are going to transform the information to a record creation setup over there. Then we have the service terms, where you are going to define the basic configuration setting. We will also look into the details, how you are going to set up the service configuration settings. Means you can also define, okay, when the SLA should be applicable, when shouldn't be happen, or what are the scenarios that you are going to capture within it. Then entitlement, which is very interesting part that you can see today also, about the scope of the work you are going to define. Means how many cases you are going to cater by the time the customer is submitting any request. So you can maintain the scoping based on the cases through the entitlements. And the entitlements, they are going to link with the SLA. So you can define, okay, entitlement is category A, what type of SLA is going to be applicable. If the entitlement is B, what is the applicable? So you can define the customer entitlements, means you can define the customer response time based on the entitlement the customer is going to have it, and you can define the scope of work also. Then there's a much important part which we'll also discuss about the holiday schedule as well as the customer service schedule. As you may have experienced that the people are working on a different shifts, so how you are going to maintain. So the people who are working on a 24/7 calendar, or there is a, you can say, office timings, or there is a, you can say, different time segments they are going to maintain, and within the time segment there are some breaks are applicable. So you can define the customer service schedule, and it can be linked with the holiday schedule. So let's take an example. Today is the last working day, and from tomorrow there is a 4-day holidays due to any, you can say, event. Might be possible it's a Eid, or there's a Christmas holiday. You can define the holidays there, so that the SLA is not going to have the impact on it. Means whenever the customer is submitting any request and there is a time, it's very limited, system will automatically identify based on the setting that you have defined there. Then we have the SLA KPIs. You can manage your own KPIs, as well as system provides you some basic KPI details, means the first response and the resolution. System comes with this, but you can extend. And the KPIs can be applicable anywhere in the system, either it's a system entity or system table or system processes or the custom processes. Then the same KPIs that you are going to use in the service level agreement. And we will talk about these two segments in a very detail in a part 2 session, which is after we are covering the basics about the service configuration. Now, let's talk about the system, how it looks like within the system itself. So let me just jump to the environment. So now we are here on our Dynamics 365 customer engagement module. To maintain any kind of the configuration, what you need to do, you would require to move to the different area, which is the service management. So if you are just looking to the service management area, where all the settings, all the configuration comes in are based on the segmentation. And today we are going to cover two major parts. One is the case settings, as well as we are going to cover the service terms. Most probably we are going to look into the templates part, which is, you can say, on Thursday schedule. And there are some other terminologies are available specifically for the unified routing, as well as there is a kind you will see here where we have the omni-channel settings. So omni-channel settings comes here, as well it comes on the downward. So we will cover after some times when we will cover the deployment and the development part, we will cover these sections of how you are going to set up all the omni-channels and what are the configuration that you are going to make it there. So let's talk about the first part. It is here. So first part is related to the case settings. You are having a queue. And these are the all queues are available. So as I mentioned, the people who are registered in the system as a user, so they are going to have this list of the queues, as well as you can define your own queue. So let me just do one thing. Let me sort it by newer to the oldest. And from here, you can see all of the people who are registered. So let's take example of Bob James, Kat, Mushtaq, Marshall. So these are the users. And every user is going to have their own queue so that they can maintain their record within their own settings. As well as there are some generic queues also available. Generic means which is applicable based on the requirement. So I have already created one queue for just for the need that whenever the emails are coming, so it will be registered within the system here. So let's take a look how it works. So I'm just opening a record, and from here you can see the information about the queue details. The queue will having a name where you are going to just put in a name here, and you are going to define what is the scope of that particular queue. Either it's a public or a private. Public means it's applicable for everyone and everyone can see the details within the queue. Private means only the authorized person who are the part of that queue, they will only able to see the queue details or queue information or the details that are listed under the items there. Then there is an email, which is again listed, means you can also put it there, the email of that particular queue, so that whenever the emails are going to send from the system or they are coming from outside, you are going to list it down within the system here. Who is the owner means who is going to own that particular queue, you are going to mention it there, as well as what type of the conversion that you want to maintain. So I just put it there, the all kind of the email activity, it should be converted as an email. So whatever the correspondent that we are going to do it here, as well as you can define other rules also. So you can define the emails responses only. You can also define the messages from the lead account contact. So you can define any kind of the settings from here. For just a generic purpose, or you can say as a global purpose, we just put it there, whatever the conversation is being made, or you can say it is going to be executed, every kind of the action is going to be recorded in the system. Then as soon as you are going to define any queue, so there will be a default mailbox will be set it up, and this particular mailbox, it is linked with that particular email that we have mentioned there. We will try to cover this particular email part in one of the session, or what we'll do, we will record another session and where we'll showcase you how it can be set it up in terms of the mail management or mail configuration management. So we will take this topic as a separate one. Now we have also defined there the automatic rule creation, so it's already defined, so we will cover in a later stage. Now, whatever the action that you can see it here, whatever the emails are linking up here, it is by default set it up here as a queue item. So that's the number one that you will see it here. Whatever the queue that you have put it there in the system, it is going to be capture all kind of activities there if it is assigned to a particular queue. Now, there could be a possibility that you are going to set up a private one. So private, again, it's just like a suitable for the people who are having access or the individual queues there. Okay. Now, second part it comes here. Whenever you are going to set it up the queue, okay, the queue management, or you can say the queue, you can say the business process that we are going to maintain, we will cover in the next session how you are going to maintain, because whatever the interaction is going to be happen in terms of the collaboration and the communication, we will see this particular topic and how it's going to be used within the system there. Now, next part it comes here as a parent-child relationship, as we explained earlier, that you can have a child cases of any parent case, means you can split the case scope within a subunits and you can define it here. So whenever the case is going to be created as a child, what information system should take it here. So we define a very limited option that the customer should take the customer, account, case type and title, and rest of the information we have to update manually there. Or what you can do, whatever the fields are applicable, you can also define. So let's take example, the currency that you want to take it. So at the time of the case creation, means the child case creation, the currency will be moved, or you can say it will be directly linked. There could be a scenario that the multi-currency environment is set it up. The customer is dealing in USD, but the scope, or let's say the territory he's talking about, is in the Middle East. In the Middle East, there is a certain country, that's the Saudi Arabia. So SAR, you are going to set it up. So totally depends on the situation that you are going to handle here. Now there is also one part is also there whenever the case closure happens. So what should be happen? By default, there is nothing. The system comes in this way, but you can define the rules here. Means at the time of the case closure of the parent, mean the parent case is going to be closed. What the system should check it here? Either system should close all the cases when the case parent case is closed. So system should take it on. By default, system doesn't close the child cases, but you can change the behavior in this way. Also, you can set up it up here in this particular way that parent it should applicable only when all the child cases are closed. So you can define the set here or rules here in this particular way. Okay, so either you can remain it open, which is a default functionality, or you can define it there. You can check the condition here. If the parent is closed, child should be closed. If parent is going to be closed, it should check that all child should be closed before it is going to be closed the parent. So that's the setup. You can do it here in this particular settings there. Okay. Now let's talk about the subjects. Subjects are, again, these are the tags that you are going to put it here. So these are the all subjects that we spoke about last time that we are going to define it here. By default, system comes here as a default, but you can set it up here. So let's take example, if it's a category. So inside the category, you want to add more subject. So let's take example, I'm just going to add one more subject here that is within the complaint. So what kind of complaint it is here? So there is a one information I'm going to put it here. This is related to finance. And I'm just going to put it here. Either it could be a separate, so I can put it here as a parent, or I wanted to put it here under the complaint, means complaint, what type of complaint we are talking about. We are just going to save it here, finance. Similar way, I can do some other subjects. So let's take example of sales. I'm just going to put the complaint is all about the sales here. So what will be the implication happen, or what is, you can say, the mapping will be happen in this particular scenario. So whatever the subjects we are going to add it here, or we are going to add or remove the subjects there, so it is going to be applicable across the system wherever the subject is mapped in the system. So let's take example. I'm just going to duplicate my same interface, and I'm just going to move to the service part. And here I'm just going to open a case, and if I'm just going to click new to register a new case, so let it be open. So I'm just going to click a new. Now you can see what the system is going to do it here. So if I click on the subject, you will able to see the new addition here under the subject. So you can see now subject has a child and it is the finance and sales. So either it could be a complaint, you can select the parent also. Also you can define either it's related to the sales. So it is defined as a child subject. So this is the, you can say, hierarchy that you can maintain within the system, and you are just going to tag this information. Okay. Now the routing rules. Routing rules, again, it's just like information that you are going to pass by the type of the information that you are going to submit based on the criteria. You want to identify that, okay, who is the responsible, who is the next person who is going to take care of it. So you are going to define the routing rule, and it could be a generic one, or it could be a multiple, as many as you want. So you can see it here. There is a one default case routing. We have set it up here, and inside it, what the information that we are going to capture, one is the name of the routing, definitely is the name. You are going to put it here, as well as who is going to own it, the owner who had created, or who is going to manage this particular routing rule. And there is a condition that you are going to define it here. So let's take example how the conditions are defined there. So in the condition, what scenario it is going to be happen. So let me just open. In the condition, what we have done, you can see it here. There is a criteria. It is mentioned, and the criteria is just like a logic that you are going to apply. So means if the case type is equal to problem, then what the system should do? System should assign it to mean this route to a specific user or team, and who is the responsible person. So all kind of the problem that we are going to tag it there, system will automatically identify. It's going to route information to Wahaj in this scenario. We are just going to pass it. So this is the scenario that you are going to define it there, that what kind of the information or what kind of the requests is more suitable to the related team, user, or a queue, so that the concerned person, they can take care of it. So customer service department, or let's say the person who is having a conversation with the customer, or who is registering the, you can say the details, or who is registering the, you can say the case, he don't need to worry about it. Okay, who is the next responsible person, or to whom should I assign? So by using the routing feature, system will do it its own. So that's the benefit that you can take it here. Similar way, if I'm just going to close it, and I'm just going to open up another one. So let's take example of the case type is question, and assign to whom? Assign to me as a user. So you can see it here, the case type is this. So you can have the multiple scenario here. You can put the condition. It's not necessary that you're going to put it one. You can define the attributes. I mean, let's say the case type is this, subject is this. I mean, the subject is finance, case type is complaint, assigned to user A. If it is related to a sales, and it is related to the complaint, assigned to this particular user. So you can define the set of rules here. So it's a configuration that you have to do once. So once you are done, what you need to do, you just need to activate the record. So that's the only thing that you need to do. You need to consider about it. And similar way, there is a one option that you can see set as default, because whenever the activation is happen, so what should be applicable by default. So you can also define it here as a default one. Now things come here as a 6 point, which is the automatic record creation, where we are going to define there what the system should do based on the activity. So what we have done here, we have defined the queue to monitor, means it's only applicable on the queue and what type of activity. So let's take example. I'm just going to put it there as a new so that you can see how it looks like. It will list down all the queue list. You will see all the queue information, that whatever the queue are defined, either this is a public queue or private queue. And then what you have it there, let me just skip it down. What kind of information? Either the appointment record whenever it's going to be captured for this particular queue. There is any booking alert, conversation, any customer voice information, email, outbound message, phone call. So these are all activities are listed down here. So normally we take care about the emails or any kind of the appointments, or let's say the task. So totally depends on the scenario. So most of the scenario that you will find in the email. So whatever the email conversation is going to be recorded in the queue, you are going to convert that particular email to create a record there. Okay. So let me just open our existing one, which is already open or already created. So let me just open that particular record. And from here, you can see this particular queue is already assigned. So it's mean whatever the email is going to be registered here means, let's take example that whenever I'm going to send an email at support@company.com, what the system should do, it should create a complaint for me. And this is the same setup here mentioned here. So this queue is going to be monitored, and the activity type is the email. And what is the configuration rules is happen here. So before we are going to jump into the configuration, there are some more details. Either you want to respond back on the email, so we just put it here yes, so the system should send the response, and what kind of a template here. So templates are just like you can say email draft that you are going to send to the customer here. Okay, and we will also talk about this in the next session on Thursday, how you are going to define your own template, personal template, or global template, or system generated one. So we will discuss all kind of the template in the next session here. So what kind of the rules are defined here? I'm just going to jump into the details. Let me just open it up. And from here, what I can see, I just put it in the name, and I just put the condition here. So what condition I have put it here? So whatever the email direction is incoming, means whatever the emails are registered or received within my mailbox in the CRM, what the system should do, system should create a case. And as soon as this, actually, it's not necessary that you are going to create a case. It could be a lead record. It could be opportunity record. It could be a task record. So it could be anything that you want to maintain. So it's just like a generic information that you are going to capture, means whatever the activity happened on that particular queue, you are just going to trigger to create a record. So in this particular scenario, we are just creating a case here. And what type of information that we have registered here? So I'm just going to open this particular configuration panel. Now in Dynamics 365, as I mentioned earlier, Dynamics 365 comes with the Power Automate, where you are going to manage all kind of scenarios within the Power Automate. But if we talk about particularly for The on-prem version, on-prem has the different functionality or different, you can say, setting up or configuration layout is there. So I will also show you in between. So I just open up here this particular configuration panel, and in configuration panel, the system is going to give me all the steps the work that the system will do at the time of the record creation. So as we defined that the case should be created, what will happen? Okay, more importantly, there's some set of the information that you don't need to do it, means you don't want to you don't require to change anything because the system's related settings. So that's why you can see it here, do not delete or rename, because system is managing its own. But you can add more steps here. So these are the all steps that we have identified and we have put it there in the system. So what information that we have put it here, whenever the emails are here, so the email are going to register, so system automatically identify, okay, emails should be captured. System is also identifying, okay, which email is receiving. So it's just going to identify the sender. And system will also identify, is this account or contact? So system will already identify where the email is registered there. So either it's account or a contact, so that system will identify, okay, who is the potential customer? Means not potential customer, who is the, you can say, potential customer is there, so it's going to be tagged there. Then what the system will do, it's going to create a case here. Means it's going to create a simple, you can say, the record here. So what kind of record system is going to create? The system is going to create a case with the subject and some of the information system has pulled it up here. So if it is related to the customer's account, then put it in account. If it's a contact, put it in contact. So system is going to take care of its own. As well as once it is done, system is going to close the incoming activity here. So you can see it here, this activity is going to be completed as a recorder. So just like a managing there. So these are the all systematic addition here. So what we need to do, if it is needed, we can add the details within it. Means we can add the more fields, whatever the information that you want to capture, or you can set it up as a default. You can do it here. But it is not recommended to delete anything, because if you're going to delete any steps, the system will not identify, okay, what's the next step, you can do it. But although you can add more steps, so system provides you the functionality that you can add more. So let me just give you a high level demo how it works. Let me just create an email, and let me just change the email which is already registered. So let me just send an email here that I'm just going to put here the support at here. I'm just going to send an email here, and you can see how it works. I'm just going to put it here. I'm just going to send directly this email. So what the system will do on the background, after some time, as soon as the email is registered and it received in my mailbox, system will identify and it will try to link that particular email to the contact and account, as well as it is going to link it up with the all kind of activities. Means in this case, it is an email activity, and the system will also create a case here. So for that particular reason, what I will do, let me just open another browser, and let me just open that particular email there. And for that particular one, what I would require, the user details. So let me just take it out here. Let me just open my mailbox, and let me see if I have the credentials so that I can see it here. Let me just sign in. Let me just sign in with support at. I'm just going to log in with my email, which is a support email, which is already configured in the system. And let me just jump into my mailbox. So I'm here in the mailbox. So I just need to see if I receive the email or not, and what is the behavior I am going to have it from the system. So I'm just going to pass all the security parameters. And from here, now what we have seen here, we can see here the email is already registered here, means it came here in my mailbox. So as soon as the system is going to read this particular email, because back on the background, what we have done, we have just already set it up our mailbox within the Office 365. So as soon as the email is arrived in my Dynamics 365 environment, system will react, or you can say respond back based on the configuration we have made it there. And you can also see on the previous emails also, you can see easily the track to Dynamics 365. So it's mean the all of my email, whatever I am receiving it here in this particular you can say the segment. So system is already identifying, I can easily identify, okay, this particular email is already available, this particular email is also available, so I can see it here. So let me refresh my mailbox so to see if it is there or not, because it may take a little bit time until unless everything goes fine. Yes, there is a one thing I just need to see if my queue is active or not. Let me just see it here. Not queue, case record creation is active or not. Let me just come here. Yes, it's already activated. So let me just close and let me just do one thing. Let me just go here in my activities. Let me just discard everything. And from here, let me just open email, all emails. And let me just change it near to oldest. So I just need to wanted to track it out if I received an email or not in my mailbox. Now I can see it here. The email is registered. Email is now came here. So within the system, what the system will do within a second or within a minute time, system will automatically identify. As soon as it is going to be identified, system will create a case and it will be tagged here. So let me just refresh in the meanwhile. So might be possible it's going automatically happen. Now you can see it here. This particular email, it is now assigned, or you can say the case is created here. So if I jump directly, or either I can go here from the cases, or even though I can directly click here and to navigate to the case record. So you can see it here. This particular email is now converted to the case here. And system will already identify, okay, who is the customer as well as who is the contact person. So my email is registered with Abdul Shakur and the company is Shakur and Sons. And what a kind of the conversation, you can see the conversation here. I send an email, mean the customer has sent an email with this particular detail that what he's expecting, and system had registered the case within the system based on whatever the information they have received with the maximum information that we can retrieve from the system. And from here, system is also identifying based on the information, whatever the configuration is mentioned, system is also responding back. So this particular email is a response of the case creation. So that's the, you can say, email thread that you can see automatically system is going to be managed with its own based on the configuration that we had made there. Now let's talk about the particular scenario. So let's take an example that this is related to the finance. So I'm just going to move to the finance, related to the finance. And here I'm just going to do it in a way that this particular case is a problem. So let me just go here with my type. So I'm just going to define the type is related to the problem. And once I'm done, what I need to do, I just need to click save and route. So what the system will do, based on the routing rule, whatever the configuration that we had made it there, system will identify that, okay, this particular case is needed to be reassigned to the concerned team. So in our scenario, what we have built, what type of the question that we are receiving, we are just going to forward it to directly to Wahaj here. So let me just navigate to case again and see what's happened here in the system. And from here, let me just change it to the newest to the oldest. I should able to see here. You can see the now owner is changed. It is assigned to Wahaj. So that's the configuration that we have made in the system. So you can have your own configuration based on the scenario. So who is going to respond? What is the time around that you are going to do it? So if I'm just jumping here in a next level, SLA, this is what we are going to cover in a way that how the SLA is going to be work in this particular scenario. So whatever the configuration you have made it here, you are going to do it here. But before we are going to proceed, you can also define some of the more conditions. You can see that every kind of email is going to be registered here as a case, but you can also sort it out here. I mean, let's say the email containing a particular email address you want to avoid. You want to avoid internal emails. You want to avoid the automatic response email. You want to avoid any spamming emails. You can add the condition as max. You can put it here. System will react based on the configuration that you have made there. So what we have covered up till now, we have covered all kind of the basic setting. That's more importantly, this is required to be managed. Now we have one more setting, which is more importantly, which is the calendar. So first we look into the calendar, how it works. So calendar you can define your own shifts. You can define your working times based on the, you can say, the business areas that you are going to cover. It could be you can say organizational base, or could be territory based. So it totally depends how many calendars that you are going to maintain here. So currently we have 2 calendars, or you can have your own calendar also. So let's take example on 9 to 5. What's being configured here in the system? So 9 to 5 is a normal working days, working hours. You are going to define it there. And you can define it here. What is the particular calendar it's going to look like? That we are going to define it here that we are going to work for this particular scenario, that we are going to work on the 7 days, but we are going to work on a certain time, means the 9-hour shift that we are going to maintain. In the 9-hour shift that we are going to maintain here, the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. with one break here. So let me just do one thing. Let me just open up here the details, how it looks like. You can see the times slots that you are going to allocate. So means whatever the action that you are going to put in here in between, system will automatically trigger it down. System will make the person available, not available based on these criteria. So you can define here that the first shift, it will happen on 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There is a 1-hour break. Then there's a 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. So you are going to define it there. So you can define the shift here in this particular day, as well as you can also define, or you can have the different scenarios or different, you can set up here. Plus you have defined here the holidays, means if there is any holiday is coming up here, so system how it's going to be managed. Plus the time zone, again, is based on the territory or the time zone that you are working, so you're going to define it here. Along with it, if we see here 24/7 means you are going to work 24/7, means there's someone who's going to take care of it, and you are going to define a straight away 24/7. There is no, you can say, time slot is available. So again, you can define and you can split the multiple shifts. Might be possible that you're going to maintain 3 shifts, 2 shifts, 1 shift. You can define, or you can define 24 hours. Or you can also define the days, okay, which days you are going to define. So you are just going to define here the calendar. So that's very important thing that you are going to put it here. And the holiday schedule. So holiday schedule where you are going to maintain, or you are going to mark all kind of holidays. So first we have defined here as a, you can say, the year, because for every fiscal year you are going to maintain, and within the fiscal year you are going to mark the days here. So you can see it here that you are going to define in a way. Let me just do it here, newest to oldest. Yes, you can define here oldest to newest. Yes, you can define here that, okay, there is a new year, there is Eid is going to be you can say scheduled for 5th of May, or not, sorry, 2nd of May. Day of Arafat is coming up for Hajj. You can see the holidays. There is a new Islamic year, Prophet's birthday, and the national day. So you can see it here. All of, you can say, the days that you are going to put it here, and these days are going to be linked with the calendar, so that whenever the action is going to be happen, let's say there is a case is registered, or let's say the work is needed, so system will automatically identify, okay, either this particular resource, this particular person is available or not during that particular time or not. So you can also define here in terms of the calendar here. So that's the more important thing you need to manage here. One is the calendar as well as the holiday schedule if you are going to maintain there. Now, there is a behavior that we are going to define in a way that how the system is going to be expect the turnaround time. For the turnaround time, what we are going to do, let me just open up the presentation to see. In the meanwhile, if you have a question, please feel free to ask. There is a big silence here. Okay, let's start with the SLA here. So there is a sample scenario that we have put it here. We are going to offer a different kind of the packages to the customer. One is a gold package, where we are expecting that the case is going to be resolved, or let's say any kind of the request which comes from the customer or in the internal team, we are expecting that within 1 hour should be resolved if the package is gold. And we are expecting that the first response means first interaction should be happen within the 30 minutes, and the case closure or any kind of request closure, it should be happen within an hour. And we are going to define here the shift is 24/7. So we have one defined definition, it's applicable here. Then we have a silver package where we are going to define, okay, the turnaround time is a little bit bigger than the gold, because we are expecting that there is a less amount the customer is pay or less prioritized we have made for the request. So we have a turnaround of 5 hours. And in the 5 hours, what we are going to do it here, we are going to send a first response within 1.5 hours. And the case closure, or you can say the request closure, we are expecting that it should be happen within the 5 hours. And the shift, it is Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this is the restriction that we are going to apply. I mean, it should be applicable for daytime or work time. Okay. Similarly, we have the bronze package, and we are going to define here that this particular time around time is a 12 hours, and in which we are going to send the first response in 3 hours, and the closure should be happen in the 12 hours. And again, it is going to be applicable for the working hours of that. So these are the all conditions that we are going to apply here. So these are the, you can say, the sample scenario. It could be, or it could be anything. It totally depends on the business logic. So we have just put it there in a way that, okay, this is a sample scenario we are going to execute, and the same sample scenario we are going to reproduce in the system. Means we are going to configure it in the system. And then how it looks like, how we are going to define. So before we are going to put it in the definition, we just need to understand some of the architecture of the SLA here. So first part, it comes here that you have the SLA, means you have the turnaround time, and you are going to define there what is the SLA that you are going to put it there. Either is based on the customer, based on some logic that you are going to define as a master information. Inside the SLA, you have the SLA items where you are going to define your configuration. You are going to put the rules, means when it is going to be applied, means what is the applicability, and what is the success, and the based on the success, what the system should do at the time of the warning, means whenever the half past time is over, what the system should do. And if it is not 100% completed, or you can say it's not satisfy all the condition, what is the failure time? So you can define the applicability in the system with at the level of the SLA item. But within the SLA item, what you are going to define, you are going to define the SLA KPIs, means what type of KPIs that you are going to maintain here. In our scenario, we are going to define the first response, resolution, but you can have your own KPIs also. It totally depends on the business logic. System comes with the 2 KPIs, but you can have your own. Let's take example that there is an evaluation time, there is a investigation time, there is an assessment time, there is a proposal submission time. So you can have all kind of the KPIs you can define there. And the beauty of this particular new enhanced SLA is here that you are going to define in a way that it is going to be applicable based on the calendar and the time that you are going to put it here. So previously, in the previous version of Dynamics 365, or even in the on-prem environment, there are some, you can say, hurdles that we normally see there. What kind of information? Let's say calendar should be 1, and the same calendar is applicable for all kind of the SLA items here. Now, in the new version, we have the option that we can define the calendar within the SLA item here. So we can easily identify that this particular KPI is applicable within the office hours, or this particular KPI is only applicable for outside the office hours. So you can define very easily there. Now within the KPI, what you need to do, you need to have some setup of information, means where you're going to define the entity or table, means which table entity that you are going to use it. Then there is the applicable from date, means again, as we are going to maintain SLA, again, there is a date time functionality you have to capture. So we are going to define the applicable from date field, as well as which business hour is going to be linked with it. Means you are going to define the business hours. It's just like you can say the calendar that we are going to assign. So let's take example how it is going to be applicable. Let's jump to our system and we will see how it works. So first, what we need to do, we need to define some of the information. So first of all, we need to identify that we need to set up our calendar. We have one calendar already, so I'm just coming up here on my customer service calendar. So you can see there is a calendar is already available, operation 24/7. Let me just create another one, which is office hours from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So let me just create a new one. So I'm just going to put it here some name. So Monday to Friday, I'm just going to put a name so that it will be much more easier for me to identify what type of information here. So I'm just going to put name, Monday, Friday, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm just going to create. Now what the system will do, system will ask me the days here. So I'm just going to set it up here. I'm just going to put it here that we are not going to work on the particular day of Saturday and Sunday. System is also asking me the same rule is going to apply. It could be happen that you have a different time zones or different, you can say not time zone, different, you can say the time slots. So you can also maintain if you have a different one. You can uncheck it. If it is applicable for everything, you just remain it there. And now we are going to set the working hours here. So as our shift is going to be start by 9. So I'm just going to move to 9. And from here, I'm just going to add a break here. And let me just see 9 to 5 or 9 to 5 we are going to, and we are going to put it here that there is a 1 hour break that we are going to see in between. So let's take example as 2 o'clock. Okay, so system is already has already moved my time slot here. So what we have 7 hours of the working and 8 hours total with 1 hour break here. So we are just going to apply OK. And in between, what the system will do, it's going to be apply for everything. So what we just need to do first, we are just going to observe the holiday because there is a holiday that we are going to put it here. And which calendar I need to put it here, the holiday calendar 2022. And system already identify, okay, which time zone that we are working, we just put it here in the time zone. So once we are done, we just need to save the information. And let me just close it out here because system has already put it here. So I'm just going to put here. Now we have 3 calendars here. One is Monday to Friday. Second is office timing, 7 days in a week, but 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we have the operation 24/7 here. Okay, so we have the 3 calendars there. Now what we are going to do, see it here. First we have to see, okay, what type of KPIs we are going to set it up here. So for that one, we are just under the service terms. So you can see there the SLA KPIs are available. By default, what we have done here, we have set it up the 3 KPIs there. So whenever you are going to click create a new KPI, SLA KPI, system will ask you about the name, what type of the name that you want to put it here, who is going to own, means who is going to manage this one, and as well as it asking for the entity. So this is the entity that you're going to put because by default it's applicable only for the case. But let's say if you want to apply for the other transactions for kind of the module, let's say for the lead, opportunity, sales order, or in a work order, so any kind of the tables, or you can say you want to apply, you can apply directly through the customization. And we will also look into the time that when we will cover this module, that we will show you how it is applicable. You can enable the SLA on that particular zone. Then, as we mentioned here, it is related to the case. System will already identify, okay, what KPIs we have listed down. System comes with the 2. One is the first response by KPI and resolve by KPI. Third one, I have created my own. So just for the testing purpose, we have created here. So you can see it here. These are the 1. Plus system, as soon as I'm just going to create it here, system is also identify, okay, what is the applicability. And whatever the date time field you will see within the system, within the, you can say, particular entity that we have selected, system will already identify. So either you want to put it there, the created on, escalated on, any kind of the date field that you can put it here. So mostly we'll put it here the created on, mean that when the case is registered, or when the request is submitted, or is any, you can say, particular time that you want to set it up. You can have your own custom field also in this particular scenario. So once you are done, you just need to save it and activate this request. Now, let me just show you how it is applicable for the other, which we have set it up already. So let me just open the first response. So you can see the first response, it's the case, and you can see it here. It is related to the first response by KPI, and it should be applicable by created on. And if there is any pause condition, we have to override here or not, because in the systems there is a functionality that you can override, or you can hold the SLA, means you can stop the timer based on some scenarios. I mean, it might be possible that you are going to put the request on hold. You are waiting on some request or some update from the customer, and during that time you don't want to decrease the time, or you can say system shouldn't work on the timer. I mean, the timer clock should be stopped there. So you can also do it. You can apply those settings there. If you want to override information, you can override. Okay, so that's the criteria that you can maintain here. Similar way, we have the another one, which is the resolution or resolved by. So, or a resolution, we just put it here. So this is again, we just put it here. It should be applicable on the case, resolved by, and created on. So what we are going to do it here, we are going to define the SLA based on the criteria: gold, silver, bronze. We are just going to apply those particular SLAs within our system there. So for that one, we are going to do, as we have already set it up, the SLA KPIs. Now we are jumping to the service level agreement, or the SLA. And from here, we are going to create a new SLA. So let me just create a new. And I'm just going to put the name here as a gold package. And I'm just going to put it here, the entity, which is going to be applicable. So in my scenario, it's the only case. But again, if you are using your own different entity, it will also list down as soon as the SLA is going to be applicable. So once it's done, we are just going to save this information. And as soon as we are going to save it, system is going to enable my segment where we are going to define the SLA item here. So you can see the SLA items are now applicable. So I'm just going to add the SLA item. Now in the SLA item, what I need to do, as we mentioned here, that in the gold, the turnaround time is 1 hour. And within the 1 hour, system should first send the warning within the 30 minutes, and closure should be happen within an hour. So what we will do in this scenario, we are just going to put it here that the case closure, I'm just going to put the name here, case closure, which KPI, I'm just going to apply the KPI here. Resolution means I'm expecting that case should be closed within the time around, or you can say within the time frame. And here system is asking me either it is applicable to allow pause or resume. Again, it's totally depend on the automation, as well as there is authority of the user from the user end, that user can also stop it or pause it. And now we are going to select which calendar we are going to put it here. So I'm just going to select here that it should be 24 hours, 24/7. So I'm just going to select it here. Means it is a gold. We are going to put it there. That means we are responding back to the customer on an immediate basis. Now, what is the applicable when the system should apply? So you can define your own condition here. Currently, I'm just not going to put any application. I'm just wanted to say everything is applicable whenever it's case research should act it here. But there could be a scenario that if all the conditions are satisfied at that point of time, system should apply that particular SLA timer. So applicable, you can put it here. It totally depends. So let's take example. I'm just going to put it here that the case particular subject, or you can say the topic, should have the data. I'm just going to put here. I'm just going to search the name of the field. Let me just do it again. I think my mouse is doing some funny thing. Let me just select it here. So I'm just going to put it here, the topic. So if I can see here, oh, me just put it here. There is a topic, and let me just go down. What is the name? The title, I think, case title. What we call it normally, case title or something. We now put it here. Case title. Yes. Contains data. I'm just going to put any condition here. Contains data. This is applicable, means there should be a name here of that particular case. Now, what is the success here? Success is, I'm just going to add a row here that the status should be equal to resolved. So I'm just going to apply the status. Let me just go down. Status is equal to resolved. So at the time of the closure, I'm just going to put it here. As soon as my case is resolved, it is a success for me to complete that particular KPI. Now, what is the response time that we are going to put it here? Again, you can put change the pause configuration. You can overwrite this information. Now we are going to put it here, the warning, it should be 30 minutes. We are saying, okay, yes, because this is what is the more important, and within 1 hour, the case should become a failure. So there's a turnaround time of 1 hour. We are going to set it up here. So first is the warning. Warning is just like set it up to inform that the half pass time is already, you can say, gone, or is there any specific condition that is gone, that the system should look into it, or if it is not attended at that particular time, someone is going to take care of it. So you can also define some criteria. As well as soon as the failure happen, again, KPI is lost. Your system or the user, he doesn't respond it back or complete his work within a time threshold. So you can also define here what the time is there. So it is just like a duration that you are going to define. You can define in the minutes, you can define in the days. So it totally depends how you're going to maintain. Now, once you are done, you just need to save the information. Now, there could be a criteria that where you want to do some action. So in the action that you want to send a email notification at the time of the warning, you want to send you want to create a task at the time of the case is going to become, you can say, half pass, or if there is any failure happen, you want to send an email notification to a particular manager or user manager, or you want to escalate it to the high level. So you can manage here in the configuration zone. Again, configuration, it will take you to the Power Apps, Power Automate there, and from where you are going to define the steps here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on the configuration, and system will take me to that particular area from where I'm just going to see what are the steps are written, and I can override the steps, or not override, I'm just going to add my own steps here. Means what will happen and what should be done in between. System will give me a template by default. Same, it happens for the automatic record creation. The same it applies here. System is already defined here with all the information. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it here in the continue. And now from here, I can see the details here. System giving me 4 options. One is near non-compliance, means warning is generated within the time threshold. Is succeeded, means you have successfully passed the or completed the scenario, whatever is applicable you have applied, or you can success criteria is already met within the time limit. Is non-compliant, means it's failed. Mean you have already defined there that the system should respond. It means as user, he doesn't respond on the particular time and he didn't complete his work. And default is just like a basic, what action if it not applies. So what is the default behavior system should do? In the default, you can send in the notification that okay, SLA is applicable now, and if it is there, then what is the action you are going to define here. So now here what we need to do, let's take example. Whenever there is any particular information happen in the stage of the warning, we are just going to add the step here. So to add the step here, I'm just going to click on this particular step here. And now I'm just going to add action here. So what action I need to put it here? I want to send an email. So from here, system is giving me all the, you can say, the actions as well as the trigger point here. So from here, I'm just going to write it down, the send email. I'm just going to send email notification. I'm just going to click it out here. And From here, I'm just going to fill it up the information. Now, things come here. How you are going to see, okay, what are the steps should be needed and what type of the information that you have to put as an input and what you can expect as output. Uh, I'm thinking to have another session on the Power Automate, because in the Power Automate is a complete science that we have to apply, means how the work process and as well as the procedure we are going to apply there. So in the configuration and development uh, sessions, we will cover this particular topic, that how you can have your own processes, custom processes, as well as the system processes within the Power Automate. Now, what we are going to do here, I'm just going to send an email. And from here, I'm just going to send an email to a particular email address. Or what I can do it here, before I'm just going to do it here, because I need to retrieve the owner ID. So before I'm just going to proceed further, what I need to do, I'm just going to delete this step and add a new step where I'm just going to extract information, get the case information. So I'm just going to click here to see the data words, and from here get record with ID, and I'm just going to extract information because we are here in the SLA instance. So I'm just going to look into the case here, cases, okay, and here I'm just going to pass the regarding objects, regarding ID. Okay, so once I'm done, let me just add another one, and let me just do one thing, rename it, get case record. And now here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to send an email. So it's not applicable here. Let me just trigger a point. Send email. No, it's not applicable in the database. Is the action I just need to put. And email. And from here, I'm just going to define it here, that the owner, that particular case, I can see it here because get case record, because I already retrieved the information, so it's now applicable here. And before I'm proceeding, I just need to put some information that it is system users, and I'm just going to apply here. I just wanted to put it here. Oh, I think I need to use that email address because I can do it here. Owner value is this, or I can do one thing. I can do one more thing. I need to have the email address here. So before I'm just going to proceed, I'm just going to add another action. And here I'm just going to retrieve the user information. Get by ID. And here I'm just going to use system, no, users directly. So users, and from here I'm just going to apply the owner here. So system will retrieve me the owner, and I'm just going to rename it here, get system user. And now from here I'm just going to find the name. So let me just scroll it down, and here I'm just going to put it here, primary email of that particular customer or user. Here I'm just going to put it here, case is already half passed. And from here I can put some segment, means the case number. So I'm just going to put it here, the case number should be added here. I'm just going to add some content here. Even though you can also use the email template. By the time that you are going to use it, you can also send an email template, but there is a different step that you have to take care of it. So I'm just going to put it here, dear full name. I'm just going to put it here because it comes with the username. This is to inform already being half past. Regards D365. See, I'm just going to put some information. That's it. So once I'm done, what I need to do, I would require to save the information here. Same, it is applicable whenever it's failure, so I can reproduce it again. So for that one, what I can do, and from here I'm just going to add there. So let me just add the action here, and let me just do one thing. I just need to take this information here, and if I can apply here, let me just see. Oh, my system got hanged, I believe so. Let me just see if something happened in between. Oh, I lost my connectivity. Just give me a moment. Let me just reconnect again. Just reconnect again. I think there is some distortion happen in between. Yes. Now, what we are going to do it here, again, we will do the same practice here. So I'm just going to extract the information as a get record ID. And I'm just going to select cases here. And I need to pass the regarding ID because regarding is already filled with this particular record. And from here, I'm also going to apply. Let me just put the name here. Get case record. Same thing, I'm just going to put it here. I'm just going to put the same because the same steps is already available there. So let me just put it here, some different name. Get case okay. And from here, I'm just going to extract the user, even though you can also take it from the above step before we are going to proceed further. So you can do it. Now we are just going to do here that the same practice we are going to apply. Get the ID users. I'm just going to apply. And from here, I'm just going to apply the owner here. Okay. So once we are done, I just need to put it here, get user. Failure. Now we are going to send an email. I'm just going to apply, send an email. And here, the same practice I'm just going to do. I'm just going to send an email. Same thing I can do. I can also extract. I can get the manager email address from the user profile, or I can directly query. That wouldn't be an issue. So I'm just going to send same email. I'm just going to just notifying the same user again. And from here, I'm just going to put in here the details. Case number. I'm just going to put the case title. Sorry, let me just put here case number. Let me just put it here. Case number has been expired. Case number SLA has expired. Just going to put in here. Dear, just going to put the same thing. Full name. I'm just going to apply. Okay. This is to inform you that SLA of case number. I'm just going to put it there again. Case number has been expired. See, I'm just going to put it here. So once I'm done, I just need to click here and save the information. So once I'm done, so what we have done here up till now, we have just applied two things here. One is we are going to send a notification. Similar way, you can add different scenarios. You can create a task. You want to apply any step in between, you can do it here. So once we are done, what we need to do, we just need to save the information, whatever we have captured, and we will move to the next one. So I'm just going to move back here. And what we would require to do, so as soon as we are done, we just need to go back on our main SLA. We have already set it up here. Just to evaluate what we can do, let me just put it there in a different way, that we are just going to expect that warning should be happen in 1 minute, so that we can easily identify what's going to be happen. And I'm just going to apply that the failure should be happen within 3 minutes. I'm just going to put it here, 3 minutes. Just going to apply here so that it should have a quick turnaround time. Otherwise, what will happen, it will take too much time for that one. So once I'm done, what I need to do, I just need to close here. And similar way, you can have the multiple details here. So what we have done here, we are just going to apply a gold package. We are going to apply the same thing for the silver. We are going to also apply the same configuration for the bronze one. Although you can define here under the SLA type here also, it totally depends, but it's much better if you are going to split it down to the different SLAs there. Means one SLA is for the gold, because it is going to be reusable with a different entitlement and different scenarios you can define. So what I'm just going to do here, once I'm done, I just need to activate this case here, SLA here, and we are just going to jump directly to the another phase, which we have it for the silver as well as for the bronze. So we will do directly. Let me just create a new one. And let us create a silver very quickly. I'm just going to silver package. Okay. My keyboard is dancing. Okay, so I'm just going to select the case again. And I'm thinking there's one mistake I have made in the SLA automate. So we will see. Once we will complete this, we will see. So I'm just going to apply the SLA item by adding a new line. Again, we are just going to put the resolution, or we can say silver resolution. I'm just going to put some name here, silver resolution. And I'm just going to apply the resolution again. And the business hours, now this business hour we are going to apply Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we're just going to apply the success rate here. I'm just going to apply the success condition. It is again the SLA status should be just going to apply. We are defining very, you can say, a simplified one, but in the real life, it should normally doesn't happen, because they're very comprehensive scenario you have to apply. Okay, applicable it should be happen in this criteria, and what is the success condition. It's maybe you can have a complex requirement there. And from here we are just going to specify that this particular case, it is 1.5 hours. I'm just going to put 1.5 hours here. Okay, and from here I'm just going to put it here that this is 5 hours. So I'm just going to directly write it down. Okay. If I'm not writing it the correct way, system will also prompt me, because I just put it here. So system identify that, okay, if it is, you have put it there the minutes, so minimum values will go here. So you need to consider, if the it is not coming up here in your lookup, you can directly write, and system will automatically identify, okay, what type of information that you are going to put it here. So once we are done, we just need to save and close, and similar way we are just going to activate. So we are not going to assign, you can say, any action, because we already defined the action in the gold. Same is applicable here on the silver as well as in the bronze. So it totally depends. So I'm just going to go it here in bronze one. Very quickly, I'm just working. Bronze package. And here I'm just going to apply the case. And again, what I would be needing, I'm just going to add new SLA item, and I'm just going to put it here, bronze resolution, and here I'm just going to select the KPI resolution, and here again I will select Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and again I'm just going to apply the success, same row as a status. I'm just going to apply status is equals to result. Okay, and same thing I'm just going to apply here. I'm just going to put it here that it was 3 hours duration for the warning, and we are just going to apply 12 hours. So yes, we're not going to define any actions, so I'm just going to select directly save and close. So as soon as we are done, we are going to activate. Now you have the option that you can also activate this particular case, and then you can put it as a default. Means whatever the condition is there, it's going to be applicable by default, but you can overwrite it here based on the entitlements assigning, or there is a SLA, you can say lookup is there. By the time that you are going to fill up the SLA lookup, system will also change the SLA criteria there. So it totally depends. Either you want to specify, let's take example that might be possible that you are going to have only one SLA configured in the system and it's applicable for everyone. You are going to set it as a default. You can select it here. So let's take example, I'm going to select, and you can click set as default. Means whatever the information is going to be captured, system will apply the default SLA. But if you have a different criteria based on the situation that you need to identify, okay, it's based on the entitlements or based on any custom logic, you have to apply that the different SLA is required to be applied. You can choose that particular SLA there. Okay. So now what we need to do, let me just set up our entitlements here very quickly. Entitlement, again, we are just going to set up a contract or scoping with the customer here. And we are just going to define another contract with the same customer. I'm just going to put it here as a gold package. I'm just going to put, to just show you how it works here. Gold package, I'm just going to put it here for Uncle Shakura. Better time, I love this name, Shakura. So I'm just going to put the name here, Shakur and Son, I think. So Shakur and Sons, okay. And I'm just going to define the start date and time. Date means what is the applicability. Now I'm saying that today it should start, or you can say the future date also, you can put it here. Until end of December, I'm just going to put, or it's a kind of any information you can put it here. You can put the information if you want to put the restriction on the entitlement terms, so you can apply there. Again, it totally depends on the situation. Now, here we have the possibility here. how the SLA should going to be applicable, either the number of cases or number of hours that it is going to be consumed. So there are two ways to do it here. So you're going to assign, okay, how many cases that the user can open, 10, 20, 100,000, how many cases they can open, or number of hours that you are going to put it here. So let's take example that you have a contract of with the customer is a 120 hours in a one particular duration. You can also put it the same thing. So for take example that I'm just going to put there as a number of the cases, and when it is going to be applicable at the time of the case resolution, or it is going to be applicable at the time of the case creation, means when the SLA is going to deduct, or not SLA, when the entitlement is going to be deduct based on the number that you are going to provide here. Similar way, if I'm going to put it here number of hours, it is going to based on the term that you are going to put it in hours, 100, 200, 500, how many hours that you have proposed to the customer. But let's say if you are going to put number of cases, system will also put it there, okay, how many cases are going to be registered based on the registration or the resolution. And only it's deductible based on the number, means the number of the hours at the time of the resolution. System will only capture those information where you have seen the billable hours at the time of resolution. Same is going to be applicable here. So I'm just going to put it here in the number of cases, and we are just saying that the case creation, I'm just going to put it here. Eventually it should be happen on the resolution. And I'm going to provide, let's take example of 12 cases. I'm just going to put it here, the 12 terms. I'm going to define it here. I'm just going to save it here. You can also define some other information as well as means how many cases you are going to apply with the different channels. Let's say the emails, how many emails that you are going to entertain, how many phone calls you can entertain. You can add more items here. Similar way, you can also define the products here. So you can also link with the product, okay, which type of the product that you are going to offer under, means which are included in that particular entitlement. You can do it here. Also, you can define the contact, means who is the contact person for this particular contract or entitlement contract that you are going to have with the customer. So once you are done, what you need to do, you just need to activate it here. And in the entitlement, what you will also see at the time of the expiration, system will automatically take care of it, and you can see the status as expired one, or you can reinitiate it, or you can create a new copy of it. Okay. Now there is a one gold we have created. Similar way, we are just going to create the bronze ones. Let's take example with the same customer. Might be possible the customer has a different types of contract that we are going to have. So I'm just going to put it here, the bronze package, and just going to put same. And I'm just going to put the name of my customer. And this particular scenario, I'm just going to put there, okay, this particular contract is only valid till March 31st. Okay. And from here, I'm just going to put it here in a different, let's say I'm just putting here the number of hours and how many hours we have put it here. Let's take example, 50 hours. We are just going to give him to the customer. So we are just going to save it there. And now what we need to do, we just need to activate. Okay. Now, there is a possibility you can also define as a default for that particular customer here. So you can click here in the set a default, means if there is no entitlement selected with that particular customer at the time of the case creation, system will take it as default. So you can also specify as a set as default, system will check mark this information. Now, as soon as we are done, what we are going to do, we will take, we'll go to directly to the case, and now we are going to create a case here. So again, based on the conditions, based on the information that we have passed on. Oh, one thing I forgot to add here in our entitlements, we didn't selected the SLA. So we just need to add the SLA here. So let me just deactivate again, because I forgot to add the SLA information also, because we need to specify which SLA is going to be applicable for that particular entitlement. So I'm just going to apply for bronze to bronze. Even though you can have specialized SLA based on the customer, or standard one you can apply. So once I'm done, I just need to activate this entitlement. And again, what I will do, I will go to directly to the entitlements again. And from here, I'm just going to open the gold package, and I'm just going to deactivate, and I'm going to apply the gold SLA. So I'm just going to apply the gold package for this particular customer. And once I'm done, I'm just going to back here. Now it's activated. No, it's not activated. Let me just activate it again. Now what I'm going to do it here, I'm just jumping directly here in my case, and now I'm just going to put it here that items are missing in delivery. Sorry, I'm just going to specify that it's related to the complaint. It's an overall complaint. I'm just going to put it here. And here I'm just going to select the customer. I'm just going to specify what is the source of this particular case. I'm also specifying the contact. Now here, sorry, as soon as I'm just selecting the customer, system is also showing me the applicable entitlement for that particular customer here. So if I'm not going to select, if anyone is already set it as a default, system will take it and put it in the default SLA or default entitlement. But if it is not, then you would require to select it here. So let's take an example. I'm just going to put the gold package. And as soon as I'm done, what I need to do, I just need to save the information. So what the system should do, system should apply the SLA based on the information that we have provided here. So system is going to be apply the gold package, and gold SLA should be applicable here. So if I'm just coming up here in the enhanced SLA detail, or if let's say if the interactive interface that you're using, it should apply here. So you can see here, system is giving me 2 minutes, means 3 minutes time here. And system is also showing you the information that it is going to be send a warning in 1 minute, and within 3 minutes, system is going to be expired. So that's the counter that you are going to see here. Similar way, let me just create another case within the same scope, but in the bronze category. Now we have defined here that's a gold. Gold means we have to respond back to the customer. We have to complete that particular request within 3 minutes. And the calendar is assigned 24/7. So means it should be react, or it should be, you can say, respond back very immediately. But in the bronze, we have the time limit. So I'm just going to do the same thing here. But I'm just going to put here that tax calculation is incorrect. I'm just going to put here. And I'm just going to put it here, the complaint, and the complaint is linked with the finance. And same customer I'm going to apply here. Check for instance. And let's say this is the phone call we have received, and same contact person. Now here I'm just going to select the bronze because it's a low category that we have selected here. So once I'm done, I just need to save the information. Now you can observe one setting here. If I'm just jumping to the SLA, enhanced SLA, you can see 1 day, 17 hours, 26 minutes. We have set it up here the bronze as a 12 hours. 12 hours mean our shift is going to be start by tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Then very next day 4 hours. So means we have 1.5 days is remaining to complete this one. So because this is the off timing, by the time the case is registered, system is not going to calculate anything. Tomorrow there is only 8-hour shift that you are going to maintain. Then day after you are going to calculate the next 4 hours. So in this between, whatever the time is duration is coming up here, system is going to give it to show you here. So it means within 1 day, 17 hours, 25 minutes, system means the user should complete this particular case. So this is how you can maintain, and this is what you can have a different kind of SLA, different kind of turnaround based on your scenarios there. Okay. Now let's have a look what happens to our earlier one. Yes, please.
I think we are already 1 hour and 30 minutes, so I think let us continue in the next session from here.
No
That's
problem.
my
We just
opinion.
need you to see
Yeah,
yes.
because
The only one thing is remaining, so we'll complete this one. So we can see it here. This particularly expired, or whatever the rules we have defined it there. So it's automatically system should react or respond back based on the condition that if it is a expired one, what the system should do, how it is going to react. So it is going to be happen. So let me just see if there is any error or there is some execution happen. So let me just refresh this particular one, not this one. Let me just go here. Let me just refresh my flow if there is any error or not. Might be possible because I can imagine there is some mistake I made it here. Yeah, this is some mistake I have made it here. So I can see it here because I didn't mention the entity's name. So that's the problem. I can see it here. Which error it is responding back? Let me just drill down. Oh, sorry, I need to go here. And let me see where the error is coming up here. So error is coming up here in the failure and here. Yes, there is a issue. Yes, actually it happens because you can see the email is generated. It is email generated by the person as well as it is defined the subject, but the problem happened in terms of authentication. So I just need to put it there, the authentication means which account is going to be used because the domain is not authenticated. So that's the problem. So we will fix it. I will see, and we will you can see we will show you again in the next demo. So what we have covered up till now, we have covered SLA, which is the more important thing, and the SLA, how the SLA KPIs are going to be linked, and how the SLA is going to be linked with the entitlement here. Next session will be the last session of that particular, you can say, topic that we are covering is customer service. So we are going to look into the more details about the entitlement because the entitlement is going to be used for the communication purpose. Same, we are going to see the activities part, means how you can link different kind of activities as well as what are the internal and the external collaboration behavior that you can expect from the system. So there will be more practicing session that we are going to talk about in terms of the managing the customer, their entitlements, their cases, as well as the communication and the correspondent you are going to have it with your customer as well as with the internal team. Then we will also talk about some of the details about the practicing lab exercises that we are going to conduct by starting next week, because from the next week we are going to start our third phase of this Dynamics 365 topic related to the configuration and development. So there are two main, you can say, areas that we are going to cover. One is a basic category, which is, you can say, form designing, attribute, because in the next session, we are going to talk about the entities, what are the entities are there, tables are there. We will talk about a different set of entities and what are the relationship, how you can manage in the solution. So these are the basics that we are going to cover. Same thing, there are some 7 topics that we have just identified that they are more related to the basic stuff. Then there is an intermediate level of the, you can say, the topic we are going to cover in terms of comprehensive development. So development in the form of the C# development in for plugin workflows, or even you can say Azure functions. So we will talk about for that particular, but it will be in the intermediate and in the advanced session. So we are good to go. Really appreciate for your time, and we will see you on Thursday, inshallah, with the last session, last, you can say, topic of this customer service. Then next week we are going to start very exciting topic, and I think most of the people will start loving it when we talk about the configuration and deployment. So really appreciate. Thank you once again, and may God
thank
bless
you.
you.